Power of Youth Plus, I'm Myrna. Today we are in the other campus of Renmin University, a place where they call the Venice of the East. Welcome to Suzhou. As you can see the beautiful scenery around me, my colleague Jackson is going to go around campus and ask students what is their go-to method to protect the environment. Jackson, to you.
Hey, this is your friend Jackson. What does green life mean to you? So what Gen Z can do to protect the environment? I'm right here at the Renmin University of China, Suzhou campus. Let's go and figure it out what Gen Z could do to protect the environment.
Plant more trees. I would say recycle too. Give up fast fashion.
Use shared bikes, EVs, low carbon travel.
The reason that I choose the NGO is actually NGO can share all the ideas like how to control the garbage in the sea and how to control the CO2 emissions and how to protect the environment, how to efficiently. So NGO play a very critical role in the environment protection.
In Renmin, we have a lot of courses to promote all those kind of values or some other concepts like that. That is quite important. Everyone in China, the students, they need to participate in their college entrance examinations. So maybe we can just add some more kind of values inside to guide more students to have this conscious. And of course, when we influence all the students, we influence as well their parents.
Yeah, exactly. Myrna, I collected all of these answers and these might surprise you. Take this.
Thank you, Jackson. Before we unveil these answers, please check out a video for Renmin University Suzhou campus. Welcome back to the Power of Youth. Right now in Suzhou campus of Renmin University of China, I am joined by three fantastic students. Please say hello to our audience.
Hello, my name is Rui Tang.
Hello, I'm Clayton.
Hello, I'm Lala.
So, my colleague Jackson went across campus and asked a lot of students what they think is the go-to thing to protect the environment. What would they think? We have 5 top answers of what would you do to protect the environment. Can I ask you guys first? What would you do to protect the environment? One-word answers.
Raise funds.
Raise funds.
Pick up the trash.
Pick up the trash.
Maybe tree planting.
Tree planting. Well, tree planting is actually one of our top answers from the 5 answers that the students gave us. So let's go through all of them and see what they picked, other than tree planting that you already gave us. Do you guys want to take a wild guess, or should we go one by one?
I don't know, sign a pledge maybe?
Sign a pledge.
Yeah.
Let's see if it is on there. Let's start with number 5. Our Renmin University student said, give up fast fashion, which is something I think a lot of people in this generation where we look for fast-paced life and everything to pick. And then we have number 3 with recycling, pick up the trash. Very, very well said. And then with number 2, we have low carbon travel. They're giving pretty good answers, aren't they? Yeah. And then with number 1, we have use shared bikes or EVs. What's your experience? You like that one. What's your experience with sharing e-bikes or EVs here?
Oh well, I bike to the subway every day, so it's been great. I love how they're available everywhere, and you can just scan a code and you can pick one and go wherever you want, and then you have stations in all these places you can drop them off. It's super convenient, yes, and so good for the environment.
Did I hear, when you guys first came in, did I hear one of you biked here today or something? You have an e-bike.
I'm trying to always pressure people to drive on my e-bike with me, but they're afraid because maybe I'm a little too fast.
A wild driver.
Don't you have a heavy bike?
It's kind of heavy, but it's lithium.
For me, my dorm is just right there, so I usually walk to school and then walk back. But there are a lot of my classmates who use the shared bikes.
I think our campus students really did give good answers, which really says that the students of this generation really do care about going green. So I'd like to ask each of you, do you actually think, what does going green mean to you, for example? Would anyone like to go first?
Yeah, for me, I think green living is like a concept or like a choice of lifestyle. And for me, in my daily lives, like everyone we order takeouts normally in our daily lives, and oftenly when we order takeouts, we get like a pack of throwaway tablewares, like they have like spoons, like chopsticks and stuff. Maybe sometimes if we we have a bowl of noodle, we only need to use the chopsticks and we don't really need to use the spoons. Yeah. So we can keep the rest of it that we don't use for the next time.
Well, good point, good point. I actually also know in Chinese apps when you order food, there's actually a button where it says, I'm choosing to go green, so don't give me them plastic utensils, which I think is really good.
Going green to me, I'd say it's the same. It's kind of a lifestyle, but at the same time, it's just adjusting yourself differently in different situations. Even though the e-bike, I enjoy driving it, I try not to drive it too much. I try to just, and if I'm going to go buy a vehicle, if I'm going to go rent something, I'm going to make sure it's an electronic vehicle, and even then, I try to mitigate the amount of times that I'm using it. And doing stuff like planting your own crops, raising your own animals, stuff like that, I think is very important for green living.
Raising your own crops. I know there's a little garden here at Suzhou campus where the students are planting their own cucumbers.
Yeah.
Like small tomatoes. Yeah.
Green living to me is very small initiatives you take every day, you choose to take every day. For example, you pick up after yourself. Or for me personally, if I go to a restaurant and they give you these packed utensils and I just say, okay, I'll take a spoon, I don't need these, so you can take them back. So for me, green living is a lifestyle where you make small choices every day to protect your environment. It's not very big, it's not huge, you cannot do it all at once, but it's like little baby steps going to that big point.
I'd like to ask, do you think as young people, going green, is it a realistic goal, or do you think it's actually not possible in this day and age?
It is quite realistic. However, I would say there is a limit to how green you can go. You cannot just go off-grid and live there, producing your own irrigation water. You cannot just simply do that. It's quite difficult, especially if you have experienced a world which is very connected, and when in the age of technology and the internet, you're connected to everyone, and then you cannot just... Zero waste would mean breaking off most of your connections that you have acquired through the technology and through the internet, and going completely off-grid. So I would say there's a limit. For example, you can do the small things like we just discussed, like put the food waste into the food waste bin, if you have old clothes, donate them, recycle them, reuse them, make new things with them. So yeah, there's a limit. It's realistic, but there's a limit too.
I see. Well, that's a great point. What about you guys? Do you think it's a realistic goal to go green?
Yeah, I think these concepts are definitely not out of reach. And I also want to take for an instance, there is a very interesting example. In China during the Dragon Boats Festival, we receive the boxes or the packages of zongzi. Oh. Yeah. So they are really big packages, but if you just throw it away for one time, it would be a waste. So me and my classmates, we would use these boxes to use it for a container, for socks or other.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
That's cool. Going green in day-to-day with small actions, which I think is cool. All right, well, since we're switching from small actions to big actions, I would like to ask you guys, we've known about the Belt and Road. I know your institute is called the Silk Road Institute. Is that the name? So I'm sure the Silk Road School. So I'm sure you have a lot of information about collaborations and how from Silk Road we've moved to Belt and Road Initiative in this day and age. For example, in Pakistan and China, I know our great friends, Ironclad Brothers. Can you tell me more about the Green BRI initiative?
Of course, Pakistan and China are since very close economically, politically, and now environmentally because of the Green Silk Road. Sometimes they call it the Green BRI, the Green Silk Road, they very specifically call it. So under the Belt and Road Initiative, and specifically the Green Silk Road, wherever it connects Pakistan and China, we have huge projects. For example, we have Quaid-e-Azam Solar Park in Pakistan, which uses solar photovoltaic technology to produce energy. It is so far one of the biggest initiatives that have been partially completed under the China-Pakistan Economic Corridor project. Another a bit smaller but very important, very crucial initiative is that now Xinjiang and the region of Gilgit-Baltistan, the region which connects China and Pakistan, are taking initiatives to bring in businesses from China to Pakistan. But what they're doing as a first step is that they are making solar plants. They're establishing solar plants so that they can trap solar energy and use that solar energy to power whatever businesses or whatever manufacturing industries or companies they would establish there. So I believe these are one of the two of the biggest initiatives that have taken place between the two countries.
Well said, well said. As you know, US is perhaps not part of the Belt and Road Initiative, but I do know you are quite interested in the Belt and Road Initiative. So from your point of view, what is Green BRI like from like a perspective of your own perspective?
I think the Green BRI at the end of the day represents potential, because right now it's still in its very early stages. I mean, even the BRI, you could say it's in its very early stages. 2013 they started developing their own things. It's been barely a decade. So we still have a lot more time. And then the Green BRI as an objective plan of the BRI only came around maybe 4 years ago or so. And so I think there's a lot more opportunities for it to come around in the future, and there's going to be new points where the BRI can start investing in new and local technologies. And there's a lot more initiatives that the BRI can actually probably get involved in. I think, especially since we just brought up Pakistan, there's a lot of potential in South Asia for the Green BRI to actually act in, because think about it, the area has a lot of problems with energy crises. They have a lot of times the energy grid fails, especially in countries like Nepal and in northern India. They fail frequently, and a lot of those countries also have high rates of pollution, which is a very big shame because those countries are just so naturally beautiful. And so it's and a lot of those countries too also have these foreign organizations that come in there, and they don't really do anything. They say they're going to clean up the country, they say they're going to clean the rivers, but in reality they just go and they just take money and they don't really end up doing anything. So I think the Green BRI has, especially in South Asia and Central Asia and even around the world, there's a lot of potential there for them to expand and create a foundation for green energy in the future.
Potential, that's an interesting point of view. I like how you put it from future perspectives of like what it could be, rather than like how you see it as it is right now.
Because right now, of course, it's doing really well compared to a lot of the other global initiatives that are put up. But I think they can even keep on pushing that limit. They can keep on going further.
We're excited to see the coming 10 years perhaps, right? So Eva, what does Green BRI mean to you?
In China, like China has established green investment principles, which are designed to like encourage the investments to improve the sustainable environmental protection, and these principles are designed to especially to ensure that the BRI investment goes well and improve the development, the sustainable development in these projects, and also like help reduce the environmental impacts.
From a smaller to a bigger point of view, we always talk about going green and making sure the country is like keeping everything as safe as possible for future generations as well. Do you guys feel like in this day and age, in any country, it is possible to really, like I said, preserve energy and go green and keep the environment safer? Or do you think it's actually quite hard because everything is interconnected and we do live in a fast-paced world?
Yeah. There was a point, I think, until like 2018, 2017. It was right before Trump got elected. They actually canceled some sort of recycling agreement in which the US sent its recycling from the US by boat to China. And so this was actually how the US recycled most of its items, because we didn't have the actually indigenous recycling corporations and stuff like that here, like you guys do here. Like a recycling culture here in China is very big. But in the US we have almost none of that. And if you're going to like a landfill or a waste disposal site, you'll be very lucky if there's a small little house outside where they put the recycling. Otherwise, you know, people are kind of just expected to just throw it away right then and there. And so I think we have to, of course, embrace this new interconnectivity that we're going to be moving forward to. But at the same time, we also need to create our own sort of domestic capabilities of keeping green. You can't always, like, you can't say you're going to keep green and then you send your recycling across the ocean on a massive steamer dumping oil and diesel into the ocean, you know. You really do have to create a domestic market for going green. You can't just expect the people alone to become green. There has to be institutional changes that shift the people towards green living.
I would have to say for Pakistan, the biggest issue is waste dumping. So there are small initiatives that non-governmental organizations take with the government, and they pick up the waste and they, gather it, and then they take it somewhere and dump it. Usually into rivers, into the water, into places which have the potential to be developed into, let's say, communities. They just use them as landfills. So with not much land left to do that, it's one of the biggest issues that I believe we need to take care of. Yeah, we need to tackle. We need to take care of. So for Pakistan, this, and people seem to lose motivation when it comes to green living.
Motivation is definitely. This is something that I was quite thinking about. I feel like a lot of the younger generation are split into two parts. One is the, like you said, losing motivation. I don't really care that much about the environment or going green. And then you have the very, I'm not sure how to explain it, but like quite extreme caring about the environment that makes people think sometimes like, should I care, or am I caring because it's trendy? What do you guys think? Do you think this generation right now, what can we do as young people to actually care? Because it is an issue, actually. Yeah.
I would say it's very important not to eschew too much blame onto the individual person. You should try to encourage it, but you shouldn't try to make it a toxic environment for people. Toxic environment, I feel like that was a good play on words, you got to admit. But I think this has been a really interesting case after the Paris Climate Accords, especially in a lot of Western European countries. A lot of the governments there, they tend to take their blame out on the individuals. Like in the Netherlands, they took a lot of the blame out on farmers. The farmers are the problem? Are you sure, Netherlands? I think there's a lot bigger problems you could be focusing on than random people with cows and chickens. And so we need to, of course, all pitch in individually. But if it gets to this point where people become too extreme and they start blaming the individuals instead of blaming mistakes in policy and faulty corporations and stuff like this, we end up persecuting or pushing away a lot of people that would previously be on our side, and then they lose motivation and then they're not so interested.
Yes, we do the opposite. We blame the government.
All right. And since living in China, was there anything you guys have witnessed that really left an impression on you on how the country is trying to keep the environment safer?
I was very happy to see this country working towards green energy and green living, and using that green energy to improve people's lives while they work for the environment, while they work to support environmental initiatives. So my most cherished moment is seeing everyone on bikes, bicycles and e-bikes.
In almost every workplace that I've ever visited here in China, they have a charging station. And almost every apartment complex I've been to, they have a charging station.
It's quite common to find, I think, in different neighborhoods, yeah.
And so it's like, I would say China is one of the easiest countries to live in if you want to move towards green living.
Exactly. You could go all the way across town, for example, for a city like Suzhou. I think it's quite huge. You could go all the way across the town and you would find another parking space or a charging station there. So it's quite convenient, I agree.
Since we're wrapping up, we had a nice discussion. I'm going to hit you guys with one last question, which is, as we are talking about protecting the environment, going green and stuff, the big question goes what is the main point of it all, in your point of view?
Saving resources for future generations, not depleting the resources, because, well, let's face it, we don't have much of it left.
I would say remaining connected to our past, because as we're moving forward, it's easy for us to forget our connectivity to nature. But at the end of the day, if we're able to try to participate in a little bit more, if you're going to plant crops or plant trees, or even just try to use less energy, I feel like that's closer to the original source of humanity than what we're at maybe now since the Industrial Revolution.
I think one keyword I want to say is the collaborations, because since you just like mentioned before, like since one country's actions can like lead to another country's actions, yeah. So I think collaboration is one point, and this is like why the technology of Internet of Things is like a hot point, because we are connecting everything. So yeah, I think the
Well said, fantastic points. And to our viewers, I don't think you can see a scenario more connected to nature than this campus right now. We have water, we have trees, we have black swans. So yeah, thank you for watching us, and I hope you liked our talk, and see you in our next episode.
Bye-bye.